Oh boy. Oh boy, that's dangerous. Good morning, Millie. Do you want some, what's this? What is that? Oh, high five. Awesome. Milk? Oh, that tastes good to you. Good morning, everyone. Today I am doing a video about nursing and weaning babies. I have done that now with 5 babies. She is officially weaned from the breast. I hate saying that. I know it's correct terminology. The boob, she's weaned. So I asked on Instagram if you guys had any questions. Let's start from the very beginning with Emma, 11 years ago. I nursed her, awesome, and she took a bottle really great because I started school and work, like school within a week of having her, I had to go back to school. So I was pumping and grandparents were feeding her bottles of pumped milk and she was nursing, so she went back and forth, awesome. With working as a nurse, it was a lot of work to be pumping. I could have absolutely made it work if I really wanted to, but at 6 months, I chose to stop nursing and pumping and just did formula. So Emma got formula at 6 months to a year, and it was kind of a challenge to get her off the bottle. She really liked the bottle. She liked to sleep with the bottle, and I would put her to bed with a bottle of milk, even though I know you're not like supposed to do that. That's what I did, and she had a hard time getting off of it. But that was Emma, and if I'm being completely honest, she's been one of my healthiest kids. She never got ear infections, she never got sick. She's been a really healthy child. Now with Cooper, I nursed him as well. Like, I had him, I moved a week later to Missouri. I was standing in the kitchen and I remember crying, thinking, should I go buy formula? Should I, like, maybe I need to supplement him? I didn't think he was getting enough milk. Hindsight, looking back, I think I just was still not an experienced mom. I didn't know what I was doing, and I think he was overly tired. I think I had plenty of milk. I just think he was overly tired, and that's why he was fussy. I kept going. I had enough milk, and I nursed him until he was about a year old. Porter, he nursed awesome. He was probably like maybe one of my best. And then at 8 or 9 months old, I went back to working as a nurse night shifts. And so is that good? And so he took a bottle just at nighttime until I was done working. And then at about a year, I weaned him as well. So I went a full year with the 2 boys. With Lucy, I nursed her as well, and she did awesome. And she would not take a bottle. We tried to feed her the bottle and she literally would not take the bottle. So I weaned her at about a year as well. With Millie, she was probably one of my hardest just because her latch was difficult. Her mouth had a hard time opening up all the way. She did not have a tongue tie. She just had a hard time opening her mouth all the way. I had to keep pulling her chin down to open her mouth all the way. With all of my babies, as far as nursing, I would crack for like the first week or 2. And the first few seconds of nursing, it would sting and it would hurt, but then it would get better after that. With Millie, I felt like we struggled for a while because not only did that happen, but she got thrush, I got thrush, and that was probably the worst weekend of my entire life. I also got mastitis with her once or twice. I had gotten mastitis with Emma once and with Cooper once as well. Anyway, it was just really difficult, and in fact, some of you told me just bag it and just formula feed her, and I'm so glad I didn't listen to anyone's advice. I pushed through, and I'm so glad that I did. After a few months, she actually wouldn't take a bottle. It was really hard for her to take a bottle because I hadn't done it for a while, and then it took about 2 months of trying every day to get her to take a bottle. She finally took a bottle, which means I was able to go on my Costa Rica trip, which was awesome, and I was afraid that when I came back, maybe she wouldn't want to nurse again, but she did awesome. She would nurse and take a bottle back and forth all the time and would do that the rest of until now. She would go back and forth, which was very helpful. So that is kind of the background of my children and how I nursed them. All right, I'm just gonna multitask here while I talk to you. So the biggest thing that I want to say when it comes to nursing babies, it doesn't matter with moms. If the moms are nursing, bottle feeding, formula, pumping, using donated milk. I believe that however a baby is being fed should not be something that we judge moms about. I think that this is a topic that can be and should be talked about, but I absolutely do not believe in judgment whatsoever when it comes to feeding our babies and giving the babies the nutrition that they need. Someone also asked, when do you know is a good time to wean your baby? I also feel like that should be something else that we should not judge each other about. If a mom is nursing her almost 2-year-old, I don't think it should matter. Only you will know when it is the right time to wean your baby. I know a lot of moms also need to have good communication with their doctors if your baby has certain health issues, and that's between you, your doctor, your baby. Millie is almost 17 months and I just weaned her, and someone had commented, she's a year now, you shouldn't be nursing her anymore, and that is far from the truth. I do not believe that once a baby is a year old, they have to be weaned. There is no rules about it, which is the awesome thing. You can do whatever you want, however you want. For me, the reason why I had weaned Millie was she was biting. She was getting all of her nutrition through food and whole milk. And I was leaving out of town, and I thought, because I'm leaving out of town, this is kind of a good time to transition away from nursing, and it really did work out perfect. I was gone for 4 days. I went to Florida, and it was just a really good time to just kind of stop it. This is the chair right here that I nursed Millie in so many of the times. I would say my 2 biggest tips when weaning your baby after you have decided when it is time, assuming that they are at least a year old, the biggest tip I would say is to make sure that they are very full on good wholesome food. Avocados is an awesome option, cottage cheese. Make sure you are feeding them proteins, fruits and vegetables, lots of good nutritious filling foods to make sure that they have a full belly, because if they are hungry, they're gonna wanna nurse more. And so that's just like my biggest tip, is feeding them like good hearty food, and then obviously the whole milk. Once they are a year, they should be getting their nutrition from food, not necessarily milk like they had been doing the previous year. When I've gone into the doctors and he asks how much milk she's drinking a day, the problem is actually baby or toddlers drinking too much milk versus not enough milk. I give her 1 cup a day, sometimes 1.5 cups. So for breakfast, she woke up, she ate a normal breakfast in her high chair. I gave her a few sips of water, I think. And then after breakfast is done, kind of as like a snack, I guess you could say, I give her a sippy cup of milk like I just did. As a way to transition her, we would give her milk. Well, Landon gave her milk in a bottle, and then once I came home, I would just give her milk in a sippy cup at night, and I would just like hold her in my arms, give her some milk in a sippy cup, not a whole lot, just like a few ounces. And then the last several nights, I haven't even been doing that. I might give her a few sips of milk at night with her dinner, but then that's it. Like, I don't give her a whole lot of milk throughout the entire day, just a few sips in the evening in a sippy cup, and now she will lay down just fine. There were a few nights laying her down, she thought, this is not my routine, this is different, I'm supposed to have a drink, and she would cry for a few minutes, but then she quickly would fall asleep because she was tired and ready for bed. And another thing that we started doing, let me show you. It would be dark in here, and then we would turn on this little projector light, so it would distract her at night and she would be able to fall asleep. So that leads me to tip number 2, and that is the art of distraction. One of the biggest hurdles that we had, or struggles with weaning her, is I would sit down like this, and as I would sit down in any chair, she automatically saw mom sitting down, it's time to nurse. So she would come up to me, she would pull at me, and she would want to nurse because she saw me sitting down, because that's what would happen in the past. Am I talking about you? Am I talking about you? So what I would do is I would stand up, I would move her, we would do something different, we would read a book, we would play a game. I think the art distraction can be huge when weaning your baby from nursing, and so I would just distract her by doing something different, or I wouldn't just sit down like this. I would get up and I would move around and I would do something with her, and that helped a lot because then she would get distracted and not think that she would need to nurse. This is an awesome question. How do you reduce your supply and eventually cut off? What food to take to cut the supply? I'm not sure what food to take to cut the supply, but this is something I didn't even think about when I went to Florida and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be done nursing. It didn't even cross my mind that I was going to get engorged and hurt. So my left side was fine. My right side got a huge lump in it after 2 days and it hurt so bad. So I literally, like, I told my friend Johnny, I was like, we need to get to the grocery store. I need to get some cabbage leaves. I had heard about this and I had never tried it, but I put cabbage leaves like under my bra, and something with the cabbage leaves helps absorb the milk. I don't know the science. But within like a day, the swelling had gone down. I wasn't red and sore and lumpy. I would just kind of massage it like this and it helped. But that's something I hadn't thought about. But if I had been home, I would be able to kind of like pump every once in a while just to like get enough out so I don't get sore. For the past several months, I stopped nursing her in the middle of the day. Like, I wouldn't feed her in the middle of the day, and that's when I would distract her. Oh, honey, you gotta be careful, okay? You okay? And then before I left on my trip, I stopped nursing her in the morning. So my body was used to going like morning and afternoon, and then I would only nurse her in the evening, and I did that for a week or something. I know some people cut cold turkey, and that's totally like, you do what you need to do, but I found that that worked for me, especially my mentality, because I was sad. I'm not going to be nursing any more babies, and I personally have thoroughly enjoyed nursing my babies, and so I was kind of sad to be done with it, and so I would slowly wean her off, and doing it that way helped my body to slowly not produce as much milk. Someone says that they are interested in pumping, but they're clueless on how to even start. I think it depends on what your goal is. Are you wanting to just exclusively pump and then feed your baby the pumped milk? Are you wanting to pump just to save extra milk? For me, I just pumped when it was convenient. I didn't always pump, especially right at like postpartum when you are producing a lot of milk and your body's trying to figure things out. You do get a lot of extra milk. Sometimes I would pump before I nursed because it was easier for the baby to latch on, especially those first 2 weeks. You get so engorged, so full that it's actually hard for the baby to latch on. So you can pump a little bit to relieve the pressure, and then it's easier for the baby to latch on. You can also pump at the end of your nursing session to pump any extra milk out that maybe the baby didn't drink, and then you can freeze that. But with this question, as far as not knowing where to start, just start anywhere. You can literally start pumping anywhere and just getting a feel for it, and just start saving your milk and adding to it in your freezer. Okay, this next topic is not really nursing related. However, I have not had a period for over 2 years. Yeah, it's been like 27 months. It was November of 2020. I got pregnant with her in December of 2020, had her in 2021, and then for her whole year of life, I never had a cycle, which I'm like, yes, thank you so much. I have a Marina IUD and nursing, so I think those two things combined, I just never had a cycle. Well, let me tell ya, 2 weeks ago, I had the worst pain right here. Like, I literally thought I had kidney stones. I was Marco Poloing my sisters, and I was like, I've never had a kidney stone, but I think I have one. I'm in so much pain. It hurt to bend over. It hurt to walk. 2 solid days. It was so sore. I'm pretty positive that was me ovulating. It's just insane how your body was like, oh, you're done nursing. A week later, you ovulate. So one of my favorite products, and I use this for postpartum as well. The brand is Lilova. We're gonna get really intimate here and show you my intimates, my underwear. And these are period underwears. I wish I would have had these when I was a teenager. When my girls grow up and need these, I'm like so excited that this is a product that exists. It's just like a really thick absorbent, you can't really see it on the black, but it's a thick absorbent pad that is washable, and you can use these for postpartum. You can use these if you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna start soon. but I don't want to like wear anything. You can wear this underwear and it's an awesome backup. I use it as a backup with the cup. I personally like to use the cup, and I've done that for a few years, and I have not had to buy pads or tampons for a very long time, which has saved me a lot of money. But I do like a backup, so this underwear works really great, and then you just like wash it. So I will leave a link in the description for that underwear. That is just something to keep in mind when you wean your baby. If you hadn't had a cycle, it'll come back. Any tips for biters? None of my kids really bit except for her. She thought it was a game. Anytime she'd bite and then pull, I would get mad and I'd be like, ow, that really hurts, Millie, don't do that. And she would laugh and smile and think it was a game. I would take her off. If she bit me and pulled like that and then think it's funny, I would be done. I would take her off and we would go do something different, and I would not finish the feeding session because I didn't want her thinking it was okay. But she probably did it the most out of any of my babies. Yeah, you see those chompers? They hurt. Another thing that has helped is baby sign language. I'm going to do a whole video just on that, but one thing that I taught her was all done, all finished, no more. And so when I would nurse her, I would say all done. So then when I weaned her, I would say all done, we're no more, it's all gone. And so she knows we are done, like we are off. Or if she would ask for it, I would say, it's all gone, it's all gone. And so that seemed to kind of help because she knew what I was saying. But let's talk about sippy cups here. I've gone through so many sippy cups over the 11 years of having kids. And I like these like when they're like 7, 8, 9 months old, but they bite them and then they work great for smoothies. But I like these like when they first start sipping water because they are soft. Honestly, anything that has a soft thing is great. However, my favorite sippy cups are these by Replay. It is recycled plastic and they have pluggers in them. And this plugger can come out, and when Lucy drinks out of a sippy cup, if she ever does, then I just take the plugger out so she gets more. But then I just put this back in if it's for Lucy. And these have been my favorite because when you drop them, they don't splash anywhere. The tops have been bitten like crazy, but they don't break and they don't like collapse when they are bitten or whatever. So these are my favorite. I will link them down below as well. I kind of touched base on this earlier, but I don't know if I was like super clear. Someone said, how do you know when it's time to stop nursing? I don't think that just because the baby is a year, you need to be done. You can cut cold turkey if you're up for that, or you can drag the process out as long as you want if it's more emotional for you and the baby. In the evening time, if you nurse for another several months just in the evening time, that's totally fine too. Don't just stop nursing because you feel like you have to because you're at a year or because people are judging you. I'm going to end the vlog here. If you guys still have questions, comment down below, and maybe between me and some other moms we can get all of these questions answered. Remember, just hang in there if you are just starting your nursing journey. I think it is worth it. It's totally worth it. I love the connection. I am sad to be done. Someone asked how am I doing emotionally, and honestly I was a little sad to be done because I thought, well, she's never gonna want to sit and snuggle in my arms for 10 minutes at a time. But I can hold her while I give her a sippy cup of milk. I can read books to her. And I've told myself it's okay to be done and it's okay to be sad, and we will both get over it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you guys in the next video. Look at the camera and smile.